Hello, this is Coach Morrison. Welcome to Life Academy on YouTube. Today I want to discuss the attitude of being able to transition yourself continually throughout your life and making yourself relevant at any stage. Have you ever heard a song that you really liked when you were young? It could be a pop song, could be country music. It doesn't make any difference. It's a song that you really enjoyed. And now that you are much older, your life has changed, you realize you no longer like this song. The song does not resonate with you because you just don't feel the same way. So therefore, when a song comes on, you might say, oh, I remember that song, but you kind of turn it off. But then there are other times when you hear a song that you used to listen to when you were young, and it brings you right back to that time frame. And you feel good. You feel like you're back in that mindset. That feeling comes to you, and you want to enjoy that. So you listen to music over and over again because the music resonated and it followed you through your life. It still makes sense for you to listen to that today. Well, to me, it's about being able to create things in your life that have that same resonance. It's like when you create a style of clothing that you wear. You could wear these clothes today. You could have worn those clothes yesterday. You could have worn those clothes 10 years ago because the style was just so nice and it showed who you are as opposed to trying to be trendy. Or you could write a book and the book could be a hit now and it will still resonate even hundreds of years later. Think about books like Huckleberry Finn or Moby Dick or Great Expectations and on and on. There are many books that were written that were time-based, but they transcended all of time and they're still popular today. As a matter of fact, one of the most popular stories that we often go back to, even though we know the characters, we know the story, and we know how it ends, we still go back to it over and over again. That's A Christmas Story by Charles Dickens. It's a story of a man who went through something and it changed him. And in its different iterations, different forms, the story still resonates. So what you need to do in life is you need to make sure that when you are doing something, it's going to make sense to you when you do it, and even if you have to come back to it years later. Now, I'm sure there are things that you have done in your life. You may have started a hobby. Maybe you were building things, or you were into art, you were an artist, or maybe you did martial arts, you learned a language, you were studying a language, and you say to yourself, yeah, I used to be able to do that a long time ago. There was once a time in my life when I was really good, and you fill in the blank. But wouldn't it be nice to know that the thing that you fell in love with became part of who you are, and you continue to do it throughout your entire life, and you got better and better at it? That's what it's all about. It's about putting in the time to choose something that is good now, and you know it'll be good in the future, and continue to improve upon it, to make it better and better and better. Remember, there was a scene from the movie Mo Better Blues where the character played by Denzel Washington was reminiscing about when he was a child and how his mother made him practice playing the trumpet. And she said, practice, you better practice. He said, I don't want to practice. And she, really told him to practice. And he was in the room crying and practicing the trumpet. And then flash forward later into the future when he's in the club and he's playing the trumpet and he's all the people and the girls are around him. And he's a successful musician because he did something as a child and he got better at it, and he kept it going. He may not have thought he was going to be great at the beginning, but now he's thankful that that child continued to adulthood with that skill, because that's his life. And so I think a lot of times people think that things are time-based. It's like, oh yeah, when you're young, you do this, and when you get older, you do something else. But have you ever seen someone who was seemingly too old for something that they were doing, and they're still doing it? Someone who was much older and they're still dancing, or they're still doing action movies like Liam Neeson. It's amazing. He still makes movies. Remember, he did that movie Taken, and he was probably in his 50s at that time. And now he's like 70 years old, and he's still making action movies. And it's not sad. It's like it's good. Now there comes a point where you need to stop. I understand that. The last Indiana Jones movie was an example of that. Harrison Ford, he was just an 80-year-old. Indiana Jones just didn't resonate. But still, to his legacy, going into the future, when you look back and you see he made these movies when he was in his 40s, 50s, 60s, and in his 80s, it was still him. He wanted to show something. So I'm sure that someone will look back and say, yeah, it's good that he did that, because we got to see the actor doing his craft, even after it may have seemed not as plausible. But the point is, he kept doing it. And you know what? When you find your niche, when you find your lane, it's good to stay in that lane as long as you can. It's like Tom Cruise. At the time now of this podcast, he's 61 years old, and I believe he's on his 7th Mission Impossible movie, and it's a 2-parter. And I understand it didn't do as well as the previous ones. And I have no idea why, because I saw some of it, and it looked pretty good. And it's a sequel, so coming up, so he's got to make another one. But the point is, when I saw the poster, it's like, oh, they put a picture of him that was representative of him being a little bit younger than he really is. Even supposed to be who he was today, it looked like someone who was maybe like 10 years younger. But then when I saw the movie, I saw the scene, he looked about the same. He looked like Tom Cruise. He wasn't moving slow and talking low, being old and run down. He was still Tom Cruise. But at some point, he's going to have to stop. But look at the legacy he built. All the years, and since the 90s, he's been making these movies. And so it's important to him to do what he loves to do, be who he is. And even though some of his movies have not been as successful, he knows that for the most part, when he makes a Mission Impossible movie, that's his thing. He's known for that, and people will come and see it. And so, what about you? What is the thing that you are good at? What is the thing that people can say, oh, yeah, that's him, that's her. When they hear about that and they see that is being done, they say, oh yeah, that's the person's forte. That's the person's place of excellence. That's where they shine. Find it. Maintain it as long as you can. Because people are wanting to see your sequel. They want to see your next offering. They want to see what you have coming up next. So the next time you watch a show like Picard, or if you watch a Wolverine movie, you understand that these people, they may have gone past what is perceived to be the norm, but they showed excellence from the beginning. So they said, you know what, I'm going to try one more time. I'm going to give it a shot. That's what it's all about. Thank you for listening to this episode of Life Academy on YouTube. Come back for more. consider subscribing, share, and listen again, because Life Academy is for you.